Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Brooke and I have been a certified Texas Master Gardener for over 2 years. And today I'm going to talk about what you guys can plant in August in Texas. Texas contains gardening zones 6 through 10, so it's a very wide range to work with. And so you may need to adjust some of the dates of these things to fit with your climate in your area, but most of these things should be pretty on point. I post these every month for you all throughout the year. Last year, I think I skipped December and January, but this year, I believe I'm going to try and do all 12 months for you all because where I am in zone 8, we can grow stuff all year round, and anyone higher than us, zone 9 and zone 10, can also do so. So if you guys want to continue to see these videos, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and turn your notifications on. As you can see, I'm wearing a mic today as for the instance that happened in our last planting video, where the rooster wouldn't stop interrupting me. All right, so I think I'm going to do chapters in this video to make it a little easier for you to skip through the video and find what you want. So I mostly do vegetable and fruit crops. I do have some flowers in our garden. We do have an herb garden, but our garden is mostly geared towards edibles. So I'm going to have a direct sow chapter, which pretty much means things that can be sown directly by seed outside. I'm going to do start indoors or in a shaded area. So that's going to be stuff that starts in seed trays. I'm going to do in herbs, and then we're going to do from cuttings or transplants. So those things will all be down in the YouTube bar. If you go down there, you see all the different chapters, or all the way down in the description. And if you want to skip to a specific section, you can, especially if you only have a very small garden, you want to do just herbs. You only want to know what you can direct sow, that kind of stuff. So let's get right into it. The first thing is green beans. There is 2 different types of green beans. There is bush and pole. Bush is going to be a faster maturing type of bean that only grows to a very small height, and it's a self-supporting plant, meaning it does not need a fence or trellis to stand. There's lots of different fun varieties you can get. Wax bean has been my favorite so far. They're also going to give you more of a short burst harvest, meaning they're going to give you most of their harvest at once. And then the pole beans. Pole beans are going to be very tall, long plants that do need a trellis or fence to support them. My favorite variety is Kentucky Wonder, but these pole beans are going to be longer to mature, but they're going to keep giving you beans either throughout the entire season or as long as you keep picking them. So you're not going to get just like a burst of harvest and then done. It's going to just keep giving and giving and giving. Next is corn. Now, if you want to plant this, I recommend planting it now. And by I mean now, I mean in the next week or so. You want to plant it very early in August if you want a chance. And I would pick a very fast maturing variety to make sure that you get it harvest it before the first frost. Next up is okra. This is a pretty fast maturing plant. Doesn't need a trellis. It grows really, really well in Texas. If you're looking for something easy to get you started, maybe you're just starting a garden, maybe this is your first year, maybe you've been struggling a little bit, okra is so easy. It grows great here in the Texas heat, and you can still plant some now for a nice little fall harvest before our first frost. You can also still start summer squash right now, like zucchini, crookneck, and others. This also I recommend starting in very early August though. Also cucumbers, that's another really easy one that I always grow in our garden. You can do slicing or pickling. The big difference is that slicing is going to be a very big cucumber normally it's meant for slicing, and then the pickling is going to be smaller so that you can pickle them whole if you want. There are some other differences besides that, but as far as production goes, I haven't noticed that one does better than the other. I like Marketmore 76 for slicing and Boston for pickling. Next up is Swiss chard. This is a green that I actually grow throughout the entire year in Texas. The Fort Hook Giant in particular seems to handle the cold and the heat here really well because we get sort of mild winter temperatures. Normally doesn't go under like 10 degrees here. Swiss chard will make it throughout the entire winter, even if you're not harvesting a lot of it. Now that it's going to start cooling down here, you can probably go ahead and start some of these cooler crops outside. I do recommend maybe doing it in a slightly shaded area or putting a shade cloth over them during the afternoons, especially when it's going to be very hot. Also, mulch is very good for keeping the soil cool at this time. So some of the cooler season crops are going to be collards and mustard greens. These are 2 greens that you can plant now. If you like doing greens, go ahead and plant those. We're also going to be looking at root crops like turnips, beets, radishes, and carrots. I like growing all of these and find that they actually do really well here. Next, we're going to move on to what you should start indoors or in a shaded area for transplants later. So these are going to be things that you want to start in a cooler area, either inside of your house or in a shaded area outside, to transplant later, or you can just wait and buy transplants from a nursery later. But here are some of the things. So we're going to be looking at a lot of brassicas, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. These things are not quite ready to be in the full heat yet, but if you wanted a fall harvest of them, now would be the time to start them in a seed tray. This also does include Brussels sprouts, which I recommend getting started very soon. Also, kale, lettuce, and spinach, some more greens. I personally really like doing lettuce in the garden. You should be able to start certain varieties of lettuce from seed later, but I do still like to start some in the seed tray just to give myself a head start on that. Because if you're trying to grow the lettuce all winter like we do, you're not really going to be harvesting a lot over the winter because there's not enough light to actually keep it growing. There's only really enough to keep it alive. But I do still like growing things over the winter because it makes for a very good early spring harvest. Next, let's move on to some herbs. Yes, you can still keep your herb garden going this late summer and fall with some of these that I'm going to talk about right now. So first up, we have parsley. This is great. I know some people like to use their carrot greens for parsley. You can also do that, but if you're not growing carrots, parsley is a nice one to have. I like to have parsley in the herb garden because we don't get carrot tops during the late spring and summer, and so I like to have parsley in the garden. Basil is still good to go in now. It's a pretty fast maturing crop, and it absolutely loves the heat, so you have no worries at all. You can plant this in full sun. Go ahead and plant it with your existing tomatoes and peppers if you want. I've heard it gives tomatoes a great flavor. Cilantro is also something that I've been talking about a lot over the past month or so because people have been asking me, can I plant my cilantro now? When can I plant my cilantro? I would still wait until late August or early September, depending on where you're located. It really doesn't like the heat, and it's just going to bolt if it gets exposed to it. So I would go ahead and wait until at least late August for that. Next up is dill. Go ahead and sow your dill in your herb garden. This is going to make for a nice fall harvest. Next, let's talk about a couple things that you can do from cuttings or transplants now. So these are not things that I'm saying that you can go start by seed and transplant. These are things I'm saying you can either take a cutting from of an existing mature healthy plant, or you can buy a transplant and plant it now. So there's only two things on my list. It's a very, very short list, but this is something that I get asked a lot, is how late can you plant tomatoes and peppers? So you cannot plant these by seed anymore. It's too late. But if you want to take cuttings from your tomatoes or tomato transplants, you can go ahead and do that. When you take a cutting from your tomato plant, make sure you pick a branch that is healthy and comes from a mature plant. Even when you're doing your tomato pruning, you can take a lot of those branches and actually root them. So if you want more tomatoes, go ahead and do that. Especially, I know some people are dealing with hornworm damage at this time. August and September seem to be the bad time for hornworms around here. And so if you're dealing with that, you may want to go ahead and start some more. I definitely recommend getting rid of the hornworms before you do that. But if you've gotten rid of the hornworms and you want to start some more, go ahead and do that. Peppers can be done by transplant. So if you can get your hands on some transplants, or you've already started some by seed maybe inside, you can go ahead and move them out now for a fall harvest. I would say that most of you would still have enough time to do bell and hot if you wanted to, or even sweet. I know hot normally takes a little bit more time, but if you're planting them by transplant, I'd say you're okay. And now a couple things that I want to discuss. So I know that July is normally like the worst month for the garden. It's hot. The plants are already struggling with the heat, and then the pests come out on top of it. So I just want to say that we struggled heavily in July. The weeds were really bad because normally it's very dry here and we don't deal with a huge amount of weeds, but it was wet here in July. And on top of the heat, we had the moist weather, and it was just perfect for the weeds. And so we had a lot of weeds take over the garden. We lost a lot of plants to the heat plus the combined pests. So we specifically dealt with a lot of squash bugs, and right now we're actually battling hornworms. And on top of that, because of the weeds, a lot of our plants aren't actually staying wet enough. So if you're struggling in July, try and take a deep breath, make an action plan for August. That's what we're doing, because you can still have a really awesome garden. The good thing about being in Texas is a lot of you can grow year round, meaning you have all year to get this right, okay? And even if you don't get it right, you just try again. If you have to, rip stuff out and replant it and try again, okay? You can rip out your entire garden right now and start over from scratch, okay? It's okay. just take a deep breath, make a plan to get rid of the weeds, buy some mulch, put some mulch in your garden. It's going to help. If you're dealing with pests, make a plan to get rid of those pests, however you have to. July is, on top of it being a really bad month, I feel like that's a lot of time where gardeners' motivation starts to go down for the year. You're all excited in spring, and then as soon as you hit summer, you don't want to be outside anymore. I understand it. It's 100 degrees here. So it can be really hard, but we're going to get through. We've gotten through July. It's starting to cool off a little bit. So now it's time to get back out in the garden and get it back in shape from the summer and where it struggled. For my members, our channel members, first of all, I want to put our current channel members' names up on the side here and give them a little shout out. I normally do posts where I shout you guys out every week, but I don't think everyone really sees those. So I'm going to go ahead and put your names up in this video right here. And for all of my members, you guys also have access to the August garden checklist that's written by me, and I'm going to leave that link to that down there. You can only access it if you are a channel member. So as to thank you guys for your support, that's what we do. It's free, downloadable, and printable. It's going to tell you guys what you can plant now, what tasks you should be doing in your garden now, and what you should expect to be harvesting now. And that is for zones 3 through 11, not just in Texas. I'm also going to leave some of my favorite gardening products down below in case you guys need anything. I'll leave a section for seed starting stuff as well, since you guys might need to replace some trays and stuff. I have these really awesome trays that come with the seed tray, the bottom, and the grow light, and the lid. So it's pretty much like a whole setup in one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys give it a thumbs up and drop a comment down below and let me know what you're excited to plant right now in August.